when he died, it was like a worldwide
Go listen to his library.
Depressive state.
Go put on a YouTube station, Prince's Greatest Hits.
Okay, we'll
get cultured a little bit.
And we'll come back to this next episode.
Promise?
Yeah.
Listen to his greatest hits.
So
and give it a chance.
With that said, I'm not choosing one until next time.
Okay, deal. Did you get a chance?
What?
Did you get a chance to?
No, Prince.
You didn't get a chance.
I could act like I did and say Prince based on what people are saying.
Well, just like game time. So today, I say we do darts.
Okay.
I say we do darts today. Not quite sure how it's gonna work video-wise, how we're gonna be able to capture it, but first one to 3 bullseyes.
Okay, if Chris doesn't win this, it's a choke job.
Oh, whatever.
More than us. If he doesn't win it, it's a choke job.
That's not true.
I should be. It should be me having a dartboard right there. I should be down here.
That's true.
Playing once in a while, but I don't. So this will be interesting. Hopefully, Chris goes for number 3 on the bike.
But it's also on the bullseye, so there's really no. I mean, there obviously is skill, but still,
you could get a bull.
You play a whole game. That shows you where the skill is at.
Christy's got a bullseye.
I'm gonna go for my first three-peat to match Jordan's first three-peat.
Okay, let's see how it goes.
Finish it out.
About to finish it out.
Alright. So Chris, me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Nothing. Nada.
What are you doing? What?
Are you sucking it in now?
Oh, whatever.
For the win.
Oh, is that one?
No, missed that.
Nothing.
I wasn't sure. I was hoping.
Oh, sandbagger.
Oh, one.
Whoa.
Jumps out front.
Big start. Pump fake.
Almost slipped that way. Regather.
Get the dip going. On a lot laser. Zach got the laser. It's going right through the board. Jeez, listen to that sound.
All over it.
Hovering.
How do you surround it?
Red eye to end it.
Oh.
Red eye to keep off the bike.
No way.
Oh, come on. Try to go without the glasses. Oh.
You got one, huh?
Shoulder.
Good grouping. Good grouping. I'll have to go with the glasses.
I didn't even realize you took them off.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
From here,
I tried to take something off of it.
Closer.
Stay with the B though.
Ouch. Turnover.
The rule is if you went over. Oh, he red-eyed it. He just jumped out in front.
For the lead!
He just jumped out in front. The real rule was you wouldn't have got that throw because you dropped it and went over the yellow line.
Is that a real rule?
No.
I mean, it sounds like it would be, but I don't
Should
think
be.
it is.
House rule.
Shouldn't be housing it over like that.
Well, if I would have known that was a house rule, I wouldn't have dropped it.
Well, I'll read the rules before.
Come on.
Oh! Catch it.
What happens if you catch it?
Oh my god! Can't wait to see that footage. I can't wait.
Slow-mo.
I can't wait to see that footage. It was all over that ring.
stuck your hand out like you were gonna try to catch it.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Pressure.
Peace!
Green gets you off the bike.
Peace! The average of my 3 dots has been closer to the middle than you guys' but
Yeah, we'll go with that.
I'm sure I think they have. You just almost missed the board last time.
That's not true.
Catch it!
The thing fell off.
Nice.
The wind on the way in with the velo. Had a chance.
Did it fall off before? It
Got out the
there?
door.
Or
Yeah, it
after?
felt like it did, but
Let's look at footage. We'll have to slow it down. Slow motion.
ooh,
Is it red or green?
Right around.
that's for a win if it's red, right?
Oh, it's green.
2-2.
Son of a gun.
Son of a-
2-2.
Back in the saddle again.
Jesus!
Oh, red-eyed it. It's all knotted up.
All knotted up.
That was right in the center too.
That was good, son.
Thanks. Oh, I think that deflected. I can't even get in there
Deflected
now.
off what?
I don't know.
There's another doubt you could use that, but.
Grouping.
Great grouping.
Great grouping. But nothing.
Nothing.
Wow, is that close though? These flights can't handle your freaking velocity.
I tried a lot of it once and I hit the top corner of the ceiling.
Come on, baby, just a green. Get me off that bike.
Nope. Sleeve up.
Oh,
Pull the sleeve up.
Not sure.
get it.
The rhythm, get the rhythm going there. Felt good about where you were at.
Jesus, well, this is my I just saw your arm go like this.
Nope. Oh, you got it. You got it. Oh, what the? Is that 3?
Let's go!
3 game times, 3 victories.
Beginner's luck. No! See? So you can't see his light. That's what he did to me too.
I'll be sitting over here waiting, sipping my tea. Oh!
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Oh no.
Yeah, but you'll have a chance to respond. And you're
That's
like,
true. That's true.
I'll be over here, guys, watching it live. Don't worry about me. Ooh!
Uh-oh. That's
All
in.
over it.
That's in. Oh! I need it. I need it.
So did you get a green?
I get a green. Scott gets a chance to respond because I shot first.
Clutch.
You drill it? Nope.
Oh no. Last hour. Oh, on the bike!
Oh, buddy.
On the bike. This or that.
Let's do it. Start pedaling.
Yeah. It's better to finish strong late than start early. I get the first green.
Plane or boat, Scott?
The only boat I've been on, other than a canoe on the lake, I went ocean fishing about 20 miles off the shore. Scared out of my mind. So I'm taking plane.
I say plane too. I like flying. It's very comfortable. Once you're up in the air, there's really nothing you can do. You're there. I think if an accident was to happen on either one, I think the boat you might survive for long enough to be in pain, where if something happens on a plane, you're pretty much done.
Can I take just like a fishing boat on Long Pond?
No, let's go cruise
Let's
ship.
go cruise ship or...
I think that's the comparison.
I am going to go with the cruise ship. I think bad things probably happen less, and
You can get up and walk around, go to restaurants and stuff.
if things do happen, I think there's more room to fix things, unless you get caught in a storm. But I think
Just don't go outside in the middle of the night.
they look at that stuff. Why?
Because people get thrown off overboard.
Oh,
You never know.
man. You heard about that? That's like a thing.
There's a
Happens
precautions
quite
you can
often.
take, though, right?
What? Don't go
Like,
outside in the middle of the night.
Don't go
A
outside.
lot of them have been like wives. Husbands are just bringing them on there and just chucking them overboard.
It's aggressive.
It's happening. It's like a thing. The percent, it's crazy. The numbers are going up.
Yeah.
We got to do something about that.
Yeah, let's start bringing awareness to that. We're gonna start a GoFundMe.
They're gonna have a big safety net at the bottom.
Yeah.
So they just land in the net.
That's right. All right, next. All right. Would you want to tongue on New York sidewalk or your tongue in a stranger's nostril?
Oh my god.
Can you repeat that?
A tongue on a New York sidewalk, your tongue on a New York sidewalk, or your tongue in a stranger's nostril?
Ooh, one of you guys go first.
I'd have to say tongue on the New York sidewalk, I guess.
During normal times, right? Not the COVID.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
sure.
normal times.
Because I think you could do that on your own without having to pull
Yeah.
somebody else into it.
You said sidewalk?
Yeah.
I'm saying sidewalk. Snotty. Like when people sneeze and stuff shoots out of their mouth or nose, it makes me gag, I think. So, not that a sidewalk's any easier, but mentally,
Right, because they
I'm on the sidewalk.
they probably sneezed on the sidewalk
Spit
somewhere.
and snot, yeah.
Chew.
But I can get down there and probably dust it off a little bit and quick
Dog.
little.
Dog poop on the bottom of their shoes.
The funny thing should be like you're in a van in New York, and the van's gonna open, and you either have to drop down and drag your tongue across the sidewalk, or go up to a stranger
The first person you see.
who allows you to stick your tongue up there.
Get close enough to stick there.
If that's the case, right, I'm taking the nostril.
Ugh.
Because if you don't have a chance to prep the area or choose which part of New York you're gonna, I mean, if you go to like a fancy part of like Manhattan or something, those sidewalks are probably pretty okay. But if you're going to like, downtown Brooklyn or something, I'm not dragging my tongue across that sidewalk. So I'm gonna pick nostril.
Wow. I'm a little surprised by that.
Yeah, if I don't get to choose where I'm gonna drag my tongue across the sidewalk, I mean, you're asking for, you could drag it over a hypodermic needle.
That's true. Boxing or MMA?
MMA.
Yeah, I'd say this definitely changed over the years because obviously boxing early, but now MMA has definitely taken over.
Yeah, if there's the two best boxers in the world fighting tonight and two biggest UFC fighters fighting tonight, I'm not even considering the boxing match.
Right.
It's MMA.
Yeah.
Dennis Rodman, do you want him the Bulls version or the Pistons version?
Go ahead. What would you do? What would you pick?
I'm gonna pick the. I think he was probably a better player with the Pistons, but maybe the role he played with the Bulls was pretty significant. I'll go Pistons. I think he was just a better player then. We're going strictly the player. He was better in Detroit.
You're going strictly villain.
Well, no, I think he was a better player in.
Right. I think during the and you weren't around. So during the Pistons time, he didn't even become. I think he only started on those teams for a couple of years before he was shipped out. Definitely a specialist. I think by the time he got to the Bulls, he was more of a role player for the Pistons during those times because he was early in his career.
Yeah.
And he really hadn't established himself. Same type of player though. Energy, diving, rebounding, very little skill. But by the time he got to the Bulls, now the character of Dennis Rodman, I would take over the Pistons over the Bulls because he hadn't unleashed that character yet, with the wedding dresses and the hair and all that stuff. I would take as a person, him on the Pistons. Because when he got to Chicago, he was such a circus. It was such a circus, but they don't win those 3 championships without him, that's for sure. So as a player, I'm taking his time on the Bulls. Personality-wise and person-wise, I'm taking the Pistons.
Yeah, he was a 2-time All-Star, both in Detroit.
Really?
Yeah.
No kidding. What years?
89-90, 91-92. So like 4 years before we get to Chicago.
Yeah.
89-90?
They won the championship that year, too.
Yeah, 89-90, he was an All-Star.
10 rebounds, 9 points.
An All-Star?
Yeah.
That's just that.
And 91-92, he would average 9.8 points, 18.7 rebounds.
Yeah.
He also played with the Spurs for 2 years
Yes.
before he went to
Yeah.
Chicago.
A lot of problems there. He was
And
suspended every other game.
It looks like he was a lot more durable. He played 82 games, 5 straight seasons in Detroit. When he was in Chicago,
Does it say injury or suspension?
it doesn't say.
Yeah.
I mean, I could
Probably have to research it, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, as strictly as I think he was better. But again, I didn't watch him. I'm just going off.
Yeah.
Off the.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say Chicago, obviously, he was I think he was a key to their, because he wasn't worried about scoring, and with Pippen and Jordan, that was key because, he's just got rebounds, obviously averaged 15, 16 rebounds a game.
Half of those were probably offensive.
And his extracurricular stuff didn't seem to affect them, I think, because they just worried about winning championships, and he was a big part of that.
Yeah.
And I also think some of that was made up on his part, because if he didn't have that, he probably wouldn't be as well known as he is.
Right.
Because all of his
Selling books.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was marketing. I really do. I think and maybe it'll come out someday that people that know him off the court would say that he was normal off the court. I mean, he obviously wasn't normal, but
A lot more normal than people.
than what he makes himself out to
Yeah.
be.
Um,
He made a lot of money off of the way he marketed himself.
yeah, I think fit-wise, there's no question he probably fit better with that Bulls team. Like as far as what his role should be and how the pieces just went together. But
I think it would have been completely different if he was the same character that he was in Chicago. If you put that same personality and character in that Detroit team, I don't know if that works. I don't know if that works with Isaiah and Lambier and Dumars having, Rodman doing all of his off the court stuff that he did
Right.
during his time in Chicago. So it's hard to say.
So
But
can we talk about The Last Dance or no? We don't.
Yeah.
So, did you know that he wanted a vacation during that time?
No.
So that's going to be
You guys wanted to
interesting
take time
because
off?
during that year, he actually played 80 games for the Bulls, which is his most since he was there. So it'd be
Yeah.
interesting to see what happens.
That last year, the 97-98?
Yeah. So he only missed 2 games
Yeah.
in the regular season.
yeah, the preview shows like him asking Phil for vacation and,
For 48
and Mike
hours.
saying, if you let this guy go to Vegas, he's not going to come back.
Yeah.
Like you're
Right.
going to lose him. So I'm curious to see how that goes tonight.
If he actually went, because, I mean, those
Right.
are the only 2
Yeah.
games that he missed.
Right.
I was surprised he didn't start. He only started 66 games that year.
He had a
Interesting.
7-year stretch for rebounds per game, 18, 18, 17, 16, 14, 16, 15, and
That's
11
crazy.
and 14.
If you give that team all those extra possessions, like I said, half of those
Yeah.
were offensive. That's deadly.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going with Rodman as a sheer player.
As a Piston.
In Detroit.
I'm going Chicago. Chris is going Chicago, I believe.
Yes. Yep. 97-98 Pippen, selfish or justified?
I'm going to say selfish. I'm going to say selfish. And it sucks because he was the 122nd highest paid player in the league. But it's a contract he signed, When he signed it 7 years prior, he he was looking long term, take care of his family, and that's admirable and stuff. And it just happened to turn out that they win 5 championships. He's the top 5 player in the league, and I think those thoughts crept in, and made him make some selfish decisions, not having the surgery, right after the season, so he'd be ready for the following season, and wanting to have that summer. You weren't going to screw his summer up. Those are selfish thoughts, to feel underappreciated like that. And I get it, but you got to deal with the consequences of your decisions, and sometimes, and I thought it came off looking selfish, unfortunately.
This is a different one for me. I'm going to say justified, because you see so many times in sports where teams when a team does something to a player, it's played off as, oh, it's business. When a player makes a decision based on how a team might handle a situation, then it becomes selfish. So the Bulls had pretty much already come out and said, we want nothing to do with you moving forward. Like, we're not going to renew a contract. Like, contract's up. We're going to, or at least portrayed they were going to go into this rebuild type situation, right?
I mean, we can just. I don't think so. But go ahead.
That's kind of what. Anyway, that's kind of what I took from the second episode. Was
they
they had no interest in moving
Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson, this was your last year. Michael married himself to Phil, so those two were gone. The Pippen with management was, we're not going to restructure your contract a year before it's up. I know you're making 2.2, but we've never done it for any player. We didn't do it for Michael. We didn't do it for Michael when Michael was clearly the best player in the league. He signed his $33 million contract the year before. Prior to that, his contract made him mid-level from an NBA standpoint, and he was clearly an MVP, multiple-time MVP and champion.
So the way I portrayed it was that they made it clear to him that we
aren't going
to be with you moving forward. So in his mind, it was, well, if you're not going to commit to me and any money to me, and I can make money in the future and I have this foot issue, then I need to protect myself somehow. On top of the fact, it's easy for Jordan to sit there in the episode and say, when he's making $35 million, that a guy on the top 10 player in the NBA at the time.
Right. When he was Pippen's age, he was not making,
which is fun, but at that time,
right? Yeah,
it's easy for him to call Pippen selfish.
Right, but Jordan was where Pippen was, and probably even more so, and was underpaid and undervalued. And he sucked up and played through his contract, and there was never a contract dispute with him. He always played to the end of his contract. In fact, there's some interviews that he did leading up to him being mid-level. We're talking multiple-time MVP, where he wasn't even close to the highest paid player in the league, because he signed a multi-year deal, and there was never any holdout talk about him being the best player in the league, but being mid-level paid. He played out his contract.
So would MJ play his contract out if they didn't bring Jackson back like he wanted?
It was a one-year contract.
If they didn't bring Jackson back that year, when he said, if Jackson's not the coach, I'm not playing, would he have honored his contract?
It was a one-year contract.
But Jackson came back.
No, last year.
The last year
was his last year.
His last.
So that
was a one-year contract. They got Phil.
97, 98.
One-year contract. If Phil doesn't come back, I'm not re-signing. I'm gone. The only reason Jordan said that is because, and multiple times, right? It wasn't just a contract where Jordan played out his contract without holding out a couple years previous to that. It was the foot injury, where he waited, and we talked about that in the last episode, was that Jordan lived through a foot injury and what he was doing to himself to try to get back and playing, and Pippen not wanting to ruin his summer and it lingering into the following season. I think Jordan was justified to look at the contract because he had done it, look at the injury because he had done it, and said, I did it this way, Scottie did it that way, I've always put winning and team first, and right now he's acting selfishly. It's a tough subject. It's a good conversation. It is, yeah. It's a good conversation.
I just tend to take the player side. Like, all these players in the NFL, it's a big thing holding out now. Players have to have some sort of power, I think, and
agreed.
At the end of the day, they have to look out for themselves. And,
sure.
And seeing what Scottie Pippen came from, and I know he made whatever it was. That contract he signed was like 7 years, $19 million. That's a lot of money. I understand that, but
Yeah.
They got to look out for themselves, just like the teams have to look out for themselves. And I just feel like every time, and not just the Pippen thing, every time a team or an organization makes a move, they say it's business. Every time a player does something that's good for them, it's turned to selfish.
Yeah.
And I just don't see how that can be a...
Yeah, I mean, I think back then it was different too, because now it's common. I think it's common for players to try to do stuff like he did. So, I mean, I agree with what you're saying, that if the business, moves on from somebody, then it's a business decision. But if it, which it is, but I mean, can you argue the point where Jerry Krause was right to not re-sign him? Because obviously he got his money after he left Chicago, but his numbers, the most he averaged after he left Chicago was 14 and a half the following year with Houston when he got his huge contract. After that, it was 12 and a half, 11, 10, 10, and then 6 the last year when he came back with the Bulls. So his numbers went down considerably after
I can't argue with Jerry Krause. No, I can argue that Pippen may have made the right move because he made like $80 million
Oh,
the
yes.
rest of his career.
Yeah.
So what if he played? I don't even, honestly, I don't even know how bad his injury was, to be honest with you. You guys would know more than I do.
Well,
but say he plays and screws himself up or whatever it might be. Does he make that $80 million the rest of his career?
It wasn't a career-threatening injury. It was an injury that required surgery, but it was a minor surgery. It isn't like he was a fracture and he was out. He missed like the first month of the season, maybe.
Yeah.
First month and a half. Where if he just has it at the end of the season, he's back by training camp easy.
Yeah.
And probably still doesn't. It was more. He can talk about ruining his summer and all that stuff, but if he had the surgery, he still would have had a summer.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was.
And they were openly trying to trade him too, right?
Yeah, because they weren't going to reach. He's going to hold out, and
well, isn't that part of the reason he did hold out? I don't think they tried to trade him because he was holding out.
that was part of it. Yeah,
It was.
That was part of it. Yeah, he got pissed off obviously when he found out that they were trying to shop him for sure.
Yeah.
So, and again, I think it looks more selfish when in the same episode, they also talked about what Jordan did when he broke his foot.
Right.
Hurried to get back, where he could have sat out the whole year, which would have been safer for him.
Mm-hmm.
I think that makes him look even worse when they show that and then they start talking about Pippen doing what he did. I think but that was what, 10 years after that? Which is crazy that there was that much time in between.
Yeah.
But I think nowadays, that's what he did is common now. It's done in every sport.
And Jordan tells you how much of a kind of a killer Jordan was.
Yeah. And I think part of it too is probably Pippen saying, whether it's right or wrong, saying, hey, I get that Jordan is Jordan, but I played a huge part in this as well. And
well, Jordan says that as well.
Yeah, Jordan. Yeah,
I think everybody says that.
Pippen should be talked about anytime MJ comes up. But
good talk.
Anyway,
that was a good one.
John Paxson or Steve Kerr?
Go ahead, Chris.
I'm gonna get some stats up first.
Okay. All right. Zach?
No, you lead this one off.
Okay. Sentimentally, John Paxson, only because, and I think me and Chris can agree on this, is emotionally attachment to the Bulls and Jordan goes way back before championships. It does. We were hooked. We were hooked during the grind of the Higher Ground, which was actually a VHS tape that the Bulls came out with. Each year they got a little bit better. John Paxson was there as a wingman, as a knockdown, catch and shoot shooter with Jordan on kickouts. So he was there during the grind of building that thing through some really, really tough playoff series. So yeah, and obviously they both hit finals clinching shots at the end. Paxson against Phoenix and Kerr against Utah. But I remember once during that Lakers series, that first championship, where there was one game where I don't think John Paxson missed a shot. It was like 9 for 9 or something like that. I'll have to look at the stats, like you guys. I'm going off memory. There was one of those Lakers games where he didn't miss a shot, and it was every kick out, and that makes it difficult.
Yeah.
And it isn't like he's a better shooter than Kerr. I think Kerr might be one of the top 3-point percentage shooters in NBA history. But Johnny Paxson, man, he was just he seemed tougher, went through the hard times. Kerr came on, boom, 3 championships. just like that, where Paxson had to grind with Jordan all the way up through. So Johnny Paxson for me. I'm tired.
This has been a long one so far.
It builds up. It builds up. I'm on. What does it have, the lap count? I'm going on 18 minutes.
That's why if you watch the this or that, when I was riding the bike, usually I didn't say much.
Strategy.
I'm going to go with...
Strategy.
So I'm going to take a different angle at this because I couldn't... I mean, like I said, I can watch the film of them all I want. And I know they both hit big shots, which Kyle Korver couldn't do for LeBron, but that's a different story. So...
Brandon Shank couldn't do for Pippen.
I'm going to go with Steve Kerr. What? Why is that funny?
You're just sometimes I think you just go the opposite.
Oh, he does.
No, and I'm gonna justify
I've
it.
gotten so many comments.
I'm gonna justify it. In my mind, and this is what the different angle I'm taking. I know Kerr won all the championships as a player, but also him transitioning into.
No, it's not what it's about.
It just says Paxson or Kerr.
No, as a bull. As a bull.
Oh, as a bull.
As a
so,
bull, not as a person.
All right. Well, I was gonna say like their
Actually,
basketball career,
Okay.
but
That's a good point. No, that's a good point. I'd like to keep it during the Bulls' time, but you can expand. If it's part of your decision, go ahead. I'm gonna shut up. I'm tired.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Steve Kerr. Even though the other night on 2K I did score like 51 with John Paxson. He didn't miss a shot.
Did you have him on rookie mode?
Probably. But because of what he's transitioned to as a coach, and I'm obviously way more familiar with that.
But you hate the Warriors.
Yeah, we can't take away what he's done, what they've done.
Seems like you're
Actually, no, screw it. You're right. Screw the Warriors. Screw them.
I was gonna say, man.
I'm going John Paxson. That's what I'm going. I'm going John Paxson. That just opened up a whole different can. The fact
But
that
you know what?
Warriors into it. I'm going to go John Paxson because
You would have. I mean, watching John Paxson grow up and grind. I think you would have been a huge John Paxson fan.
yeah. So cut that whole part out because that just made my blood pressure go up.
Just swayed. Looks like
Because that's how we did.
Warriors.
That's how like Steve Kerr. Do you have?
We got to
first of
trash
all,
on Steve Kerr now. Now that I brought up the Warriors.
Yes, do you have to pick and choose which political topics you speak on and why do you speak on them to begin with? So, John Paxson.
I'm John Paxson, and here's an interesting stat about Steve Kerr. He played in 910 games. Out of those 910 games, guess how many games he started?
0.
30. That's it.
For Cleveland?
Wow.
I'd have to look to see which team, but
Cleveland or Chicago?
I thought that was crazy. Yeah, I would say I had to start 30 in Chicago, didn't he?
Yeah.
Steve Kerr shot 45%.
Yeah, that's crazy. Started 20 for Cleveland in 91, 92. That was his majority, but the rest of it was off the bench. I was shocked to see that.
Yep. Just a specialist.
Yeah.
So when did John Paxson
But they
retire?
pretty much averaged the same.
I think it was after it was either after the third championship, the first three.
94 when he retired.
So before Jordan came back. During the 2
So,
years.
and you guys have picked, because Kerr was there, the second three-peat?
Yeah.
So if Paxson is there instead of Kerr, they win the second three?
Prime Paxson.
He was only 33 when he retired.
Yeah. He's the GM of the Bulls now, right? Or Cleveland? No, he's the GM of some team. Or is it his brother? It might be his brother, Jim Paxson, yeah.
Jim Paxson.
So we're all Paxson?
Yes.
All right, moving on.
Should we
No.
redo my
Yeah,
Kerr
yeah.
explanation because I brought up politics? Should I go just...
No, it's okay. You didn't bring it up. You brought it up
Okay.
briefly. I'm not going to edit it out.
Okay.
But if you have a chance to watch one of the parades in Chicago after they won a championship, I can't remember if it was the first. I'm talking about the second three-peat when Kerr was on the team.
Yep.
It was either after the first, second, or third where they had the big celebration in downtown Chicago with, 1 million people there. And it was after Kerr hit the winner. When he got up to the microphone and talked, it is hilarious. It really is. He is a funny dude if he just sticks to his lane. I think he would do himself a lot of favors. But it was hilarious. Talk about the huddle where Phil, obviously it was for Mike. Mike was defended, kicked it to a wide open Kerr.
Yeah.
But Kerr's talk about what really went down he made up what really went down in that huddle about it's Steve's time, and it's hilarious. Check it out.
John Paxson is the vice president of basketball operations for the Bulls.
Okay.
Plus, he's got a great haircut.
Is it bald?
He looks like
Yeah.
a tough guy.
He does look like a tough guy.
All right.
Coach pro or coach college?
College for me.
Hands down, college. I don't think I'd be able to handle professional athletes.
Just for everything we talked about.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna go college too. I think you have so much more control over your program in college. The NBA,
It's a business.
some do, like,
It's more of a business.
Yeah.
I mean, you really.
unless you're Popovich or something,
Right.
everyone else pretty much.
And he gets away with it because of his titles that he's won.
He's a GM too, right? He's GM and head. He's a head basketball operator. He's more than just a head coach.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, I'm college.
Tua or Burrow? This is going to be who we think's going to have the better career.
Who do you build your franchise with?
It's tough. Burrow was so good last year. It's hard. How that translates into the. I mean, he's got an arm. I'm gonna go Burrow. No, I'm just gonna go Burrow. No supporting.
Is it because you're pedaling, or you just?
Yeah, I don't want to talk
Okay,
anymore.
all right.
I'm going to go Tua. I think he's going to have the better career. Burrow obviously had a great year last year, but pretty much I think he came out of nowhere. I mean, he did. He had a great year, but I think Tua's going to be put in a good situation. And
Yeah. Are we taking into consideration the organization they're with right now?
Who's gonna have the better pro career? So you have to, I would think.
Yeah.
They're gonna put people on.
So I'm taking Tua, but I do like Tua, Joe Burrow. But I'm going to take Tua. I think if Tua didn't have that crazy injury, I think there's a pretty solid chance that he may have been the first. Or definitely, it wouldn't have been Joe Burrow for sure.
Right.
And I love Brian Flores in Miami. I think Tua could be like Russell Wilson. He seems like he has that leadership and can run a little bit. He's
Cool. Moving on.
so what? Well, go back to your point. What is the organization like? You saying the Bengals are a bad organization?
yeah. I think the Bengals are.
Did you see the thing with Mel Kiper when he went off with?
And he was wrong, right?
No, he said they're actually, it's a good organization. They made the playoffs this amount of times, which is more than the Cowboys, and he named off like 5 or 6, and of course the Dolphins is one of them. I mean, Dolphins haven't been that great over the last 10 years.
It was just Andy Dalton's curse of making it and not being able to win a playoff
Marvin
game.
Lewis for years.
Yeah.
And I also think that just naturally that
You guys doing this on purpose?
no. Naturally, I have that like black and orange of the Bengals hanging
Oh,
on my head,
there
so
it
it seems
is.
like. But no, as a player, I like Tua a lot. I hate Alabama, but I like Tua. No elbows or no knees.
No elbows or no knees.
Can you imagine pedaling that with no knees?
No, they'd have to make everything. Everything would have to be engineered differently. I'm gonna go with no elbows because I think you would learn to adjust how you do everything. No knees. No, just moving around, just getting from place to place would be such a.
Could you drive with no knees? I don't think you could even drive, could you?
You have
Could
to
you
recline way bad. Have your ankles would be stronger.
It's true.
You could still drive with no elbows.
Right.
But I don't yeah, that'd be tough. Going upstairs with no knees, running, couldn't run.
What did I pick again?
I don't think you have yet.
I picked no elbows. I would rather I would rather have no elbows. Good question. Thought provoking.
I'd say no elbows.
I have no basis for it to choose either.
Just choose no knees, just to keep up with contradicting
Right.
everything.
Oh, yeah. So shoulders though.
You could still do delt raises, work on his shoulders.
Yeah, I'll go.
They would have skinny biceps, I think.
Yeah.
I will go no elbows.
All right.
Consensus
One of the
says
day.
no elbows.
Sticky or itchy?
Rest of life. Would you rather be sticky or would you rather be itchy if you had to pick one for the rest of your life?
I'm gonna go with itchy. I feel like living in Maine, it's so cold and shitty weather that half the year you're itchy anyway. Your skin's all dry.
And then mosquitoes in the summer, and black
like,
flies.
So, kind of deal with it. Talk with that.
Yeah, they're both irritating, I think. I would say itchy too, yeah. Sticky's just, it's that annoyance where...
Can't get rid of it?
Can't get rid of it.
You can't get rid of it?
Dirt sticks to you. Can you even wash your hair or anything?
Yeah, I'd rather go itchy. I think I would go insane if I couldn't get the stickiness off. And it was always... I can just, if I'm itching all the time, I can... Annoying, but... If I was just sticky all the time, I'd probably go insane.
There's like no way to adjust to it.
No.
Could you wear gloves and sweatshirts?
And never taking them off because
Right.
they're stuck to you.
And you have all that hair from the gloves inside, yeah.
Trying to... No, I'm not going to say it.
That's it.
That's it.
Yes!
Segment's over.
What was the total workout there? 28 minutes. Wow.
8 minutes.
That was
All right, so we got Bryce coming on as well. I'm excited. One, because we get to have a player and not a coach or AD. So it's going to be interesting to change it up a bit on that. Became a huge fan of his during the run that he had in the postseason this year. I'm looking forward to interviewing him for sure.
Yeah, I didn't really have any idea about him really until I think there was some buzz about him maybe at the end of summer or very beginning of the season, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But obviously he's watched his games online in the tournament. He stood out. He's pretty, I forget what his stat line was, something crazy for the season.
28, 7, and 6, or 28, 8, and 6,
Yeah.
or something like that. It's ridiculous.
And he won like every possible award.
Everyone.
Yeah, so it'll be cool to talk to him, talk to a player.
Yeah, I think in a different perspective, with the whole COVID from the, different from the coaches, and then, how the recruiting process happened with him during this whole process will be interesting to hear.
Yeah. Yeah, and how he's preparing during this time to go play Division II basketball. It'll be a cool interview. Bryce, welcome to In the Den. Up to this point, our interviews have been with coaches, and we've been asking all of them what the COVID-19 and the social distancing and the no school, how that's impacted them. So it's going to be interesting to get your take on, as a player and a student, on how it's affected your daily life.
Yeah, for sure. COVID, I mean, it's unfortunate it happens during my senior year. Luckily we got the basketball season out the way and all the stuff with it. But, I'm just trying to take it day by day, get my schoolwork done, still stay active, lift weights, shoot in my driveway. So, yeah, just managing.
Yeah. That's what I was going to ask you. Are you still able to get your workouts in? I know you're preparing for college ball, so you've been able to get your workouts in the best you can.
Yeah, to my best ability. I lift weights just about every day, shoot in my driveway quite a bit. Just trying to stay in shape and get prepared for college.
Yeah. It was quite the senior year you had.
Thank you. Yeah.
28 points per game, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. Mr. Basketball, Gatorade Player of the Year, KVAC Player of the Year, Northern A Tournament MVP, McDonald's All-Star, Conference Champ, Regional Champ, State Champ. That's unbelievable, man. Congratulations on one of the best seasons an individual really can have.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
And can you reflect on that a little bit, on how special of a senior year that was?
It was really cool. Just throughout the season with the group of guys I had, we were all a tight-knit group. We all worked really well together. And, I was just the leader of the pack, and they all followed with me. And we had a great year, only losing one game. Had a great tournament, kept games close, but, pulled the wins out in the end. And, to win all the individual awards, it was awesome because that's what I've worked for, every day. Just lifting weights, doing stuff on my own to, win these awards, means a lot and shows that hard work is key.
Yeah, you certainly made it interesting, especially during the tournament run.
Yeah. We had some nail biters, but a win's a win. So.
Yeah, Coach Bartlett. Obviously, his resume speaks for itself, but can you explain a little bit what playing for him's like?
Coach Bartlett, I mean, he takes practices really seriously. Games, everything's cutthroat. If you make a mistake, you gotta move on, try better next time. I love playing for him because we work hard in practice. Off the court, we carry ourselves in a positive manner, and he really takes no BS. To be honest, I mean, playing for him was a great experience, and I wouldn't want it any other way.
Yep.
Yep.
So the tournament run you guys had was pretty unbelievable. It started with Mount Blue, then Brewer and Coney, all down to the wire, and then to cap it off with a 23-1 run against York in the state championship. Kind of explain what that was like and what it took from your team to pull that out.
Yeah, the first 3 games in the tournament definitely prepared us for the state game. We had nail biters, close games throughout. So, I mean, the state game, when we were down 11, nobody on the team realized it. And we just, kept playing, kept, doing what we were doing. And our shots finally started to fall. And then, we capitalized on it. And our defense was stellar just throughout the tournament, which is really why we were able to win the state championships, because we held teams to like 50 points most of the time. So, I mean, defense, wins games, and offense, translated decently throughout the tournament, pulled it out.
Yeah, so what was that in those moments? What was that like? Was it stressful or kind of just one play at a time, or?
Yeah, I just say one play at a time. I usually just stay focused and not get too caught up in it. We were down 11 with 5 minutes to Coney, and I wouldn't say I was nervous because I knew that we still had a good shot to win that game, if we got good looks and just converted on them. So, I mean, really wasn't very many nerves or anything. Just, had to hit our shots and keep playing defense like we were.
Right. Going back a couple of years, your sophomore year, losing to Greeley in Portland, how'd that motivate you to get to this point?
Yeah. After that game on the bus ride home, I told myself if I ever get the opportunity to play in a state championship again, there's no way I'm going to lose, and there's no way I'm going to have that feeling again. And, my junior year obviously was a little bit of disappointment with everything that happened. But, senior year, I knew I had to come out strong. And, our team just rallied behind that and, worked hard throughout the season. And, I mean, to win it, end my season off like that, end my high school career off like that, couldn't be more perfect.
I watched that game recently, Bryce, your sophomore year. And what I noticed was the change physically that you made from yourself then to your senior year. It shows how much time you put in the gym. Your physical transformation is something that stood out. How much grinding did you do from that point to now?
Yeah. So I think my sophomore year I was like 6'1", maybe 6'2", and I was probably like 150, if that. And now I'm 6'4", 190, 195. So I mean, working hard in the weight room, eating right, not taking time off, and, just staying motivated and dedicated to, putting in the work. And, the results obviously were crucial of that. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good example. When you tweeted out the hard work pays off, I think you got a little bit something negative, and that was your response. And I loved it because I saw what you turned yourself into through that hard work, and you deserved everything you got, in my opinion. That's why I became a big fan. I have a son that's going to be a freshman. He was in 8th grade last year, and he became your biggest fan through watching film with me. And it's a good example. I can say, look what Bryce did from his sophomore year to his senior year. And I don't think he's alone. I think you're going to inspire a lot of young kids that watched you play this year, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I try and do on the court. Obviously I want to be the best player I can be, but I also want to carry myself in a positive way. I want to be a leader. So whenever I hit a 3-pointer, I don't want to do a celebration or anything. I want to act like I've done it because, I want to be a good example to the kids and people that, look up to me. So, yeah, minimal trash talk. If any, I don't like speaking on the court and stuff like that. So, just keep my head down, work hard, and, it pays off.
Awesome.
So obviously moving on to your future, St. A's. We've had a couple of college coaches come on and talk about their recruiting process. So I think it'd be kind of interesting to hear the recruiting process from a student athlete's perspective. So give us a little intake on what that took, the recruiting process with them, and then also why you ended up ultimately choosing St. A's.
Yeah. So I knew after the season there was a good chance I'd get a few scholarship offers. It was just a matter when and how they would come in. So I got an offer from Franklin Pierce University, I think early in March, and I was through the phone. I've never visited that school or really talked to the coach or anything. So, I mean, getting that offer opened up a lot of opportunities. And then, I sent my highlight tape out, and from there, just kind of took it day by day, step by step. And then the COVID-19 hit, and I wasn't able to attend, any on-campus visits or meet the team or meet the coaches or anything. So really all of it was through the phone and FaceTime and stuff like that. So I really, had a lot of conversations, a lot of long conversations about the schools and, what I could bring to the program and what, the program's about, what the school's about and everything. So, I mean, the recruiting process was definitely a lot different than what it typically is, but I was just fortunate to end up at such a great school and have a good fit.
Excellent. Now how much do you know about their basketball team and what they have coming back for next year?
Yeah, they're proven. They win. They're the conference champs 2 years in a row. They went to the Elite Eight last year. So, I mean, they're impressive, and I just want to go in there and compete, whether it's, off the bench or starting. I just want to go in there and have a, good experience and work hard, because that's what the coach said. He said, if you don't work hard, you're not going to make it here. And I love to hear that because, that's what I do. So.
Excellent. So you want me to ask the Dick Meter question?
Yeah.
So it's just an interesting question that we ask all of our interviews. We've changed it up a little bit. So I want to give you the option to, if you could steal the talent or knowledge from any one individual, who would it be?
Like anyone at all?
Anyone? Yep.
Dang. Kobe Bryant. Probably Kobe. I mean, his work ethic and his knowledge of the game is just incredible. And I mean, he's a proven winner and just knows so much about it. And there's a lot of great basketball minds out there, but I feel like Kobe just, his mentality and his love for the game is something you can't beat. So yeah, Kobe.
Awesome. Good answer. Listen to that. Yeah. All right, Bryce. So now what we've kind of been known for is our segment called This or That. Very simple, very fun. We give you two things, and you pick either this or that. 10 of them, and should be fun.
All right, let's do it. First one: scrambled eggs or over easy?
Scrambled. Yeah.
Would you rather dunk on someone or throw their shot in the third row?
Dunk on someone, 100%.
Break their ankles or take a big charge?
I'll break their ankles. I mean, taking charges are, what the coaches like to see, but, the crowd likes to see the ankle breaker. So, yeah.
So, GIF, is it GIF or GIF?
GIF.
GIF.
Yeah.
We're way behind on it.
Apple
or Android?
That's a tough one. So, yeah.
Apple or Android?
Apple.
Are you using an Apple right now?
No, I'm using my school laptop. I'm going to get a Apple laptop for college probably. But yeah, just use my school one for now.
Gotcha.
TikTok or Snapchat?
Snapchat. TikTok, man. That's not my thing.
Good. Glad to hear it.
Not my thing.
So, which is worse, shooting on a double rim or shooting on a rim with no net?
Ooh, no net.
No net.
Yeah, you can still. I feel like shooting with a double rim, you just got to adjust. Shooting with no net, it's just like once you make it, there's no satisfaction. I feel like so. Yeah.
You got to go chase the ball, all that stuff.
Yeah, pretty depressing. So yeah.
High school basketball, shot clock or no shot clock?
Shot clock, 110%. They should definitely add that in Maine. I understand the financial part of it, but the games would just be so much better and faster paced, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. McDonald's or Burger King?
Neither.
I had a feeling.
Good answer.
Chick-fil-A.
Duke or UNC?
Duke.
Good man.
I like Coach K, and they're a winning program. I mean, UNC is also, but yeah, I'd have to pick Duke. Yeah.
And LeBron or MJ?
I can't compare them because they're both great in their own right. Oh man.
If you had to start a team and you had prime MJ and prime LeBron,
That's tough because I never got to see MJ play. I've only seen tape and stuff like that. So I'd have to pick LeBron because he's my generation's player. But yeah,
you're the only one that's come to my side to this point.
Well, you did preface it with you never got a chance to see him play.
Right. Yeah. So
I think
don't let him bully you.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say if you had a chance to see him play, you would have been a humongous fan.
Yeah, for sure.
If you're a big
say, so you might run up Kobe. How about Kobe or LeBron?
Man, probably LeBron, but
he gets it.
Yeah.
Oh man, Bryce, I was such a huge fan up until this interview.
Man, they're both great. Like it's hard to compare greatness, but I mean, probably LeBron. It's tough though.
Yeah. Well, that's it, buddy. Hey, thanks for coming on. I'm going to be following you close down to St. A's, reading up on you, checking up on you because I became a big fan of not only your production, but the type of kid you are. You're a good model, and as a coach, I'm very jealous of Russ and what he had to work with. To be honest with you, thanks so much for coming on.
I appreciate it. Yeah, this was great. Thank you guys.
Awesome. Thanks, bud.
Okay. So we got Coach Russ Bartlett coming on today, which I'm excited about because I don't really know him that well. Personally, I haven't really got to know him, got to meet him officially, but you can't argue with the run that he's had while he's been at Hampden. I think he's been 8 state championships in 17 years, which is crazy. And then obviously, Bryce, our episode is centered around Bryce. So getting his experience being able to be around that kid for 4 years is going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I've never even met him. I'm sure he has no idea who I am, but his program's probably arguably the model program in the state right now. Yeah. All the players they've turned out. And like you said, Bryce. So it'll be cool to get a chance to talk to him.
Yeah, same reasons. Looking forward to it. I really don't know him that well, so.
Yeah, cool.
Coach Bartlett, thanks for joining us. I'd like to have the first question just kind of be like a background question. I did a little bit of research in preparing for this interview, so I know quite a bit of your story actually. But for some of the viewers that may not, explain where you're from, where you went to school, how you started your coaching career, where you're at now.
All right. Well, I grew up in Newburgh, which is a town that goes to Hampden Academy. Both my parents and both my sets of my grandparents graduated from Hampden Academy. So haven't moved, or the Bartletts haven't moved very far, as you can see. Went to UMaine Presque Isle after graduating Hampden Academy in 1995 with the intentions of continuing to play. I made the decision not to and immediately got into coaching. I met some great people up there, mainly the Cassavants. Chris was willing to take me in to be his middle school coach at Central Rustic Middle School at the time. So I was a 19-year-old, actually I was a 20-year-old coach in middle school basketball. Always knew that I wanted to coach. I was fortunate enough that he got the Caribou girls job, took me along to be his varsity assistant. So then, I had run my own practices for a couple winters, and now I got to watch him run practices. The good thing or the networking that had happened ended up being a really small world. Chris played for Max at MCI Prep. Earl Anderson taught at MCI and ended up being my high school coach. So all of a sudden now the tree of people that I would intertwined with had a lot in common. In high school, my philosophy of the game of basketball completely changed between my sophomore and junior year. When Coach Anderson arrived, everything was system-oriented defensively and offensively. It was really the first time you had a coach really call you out if you weren't doing things the right way. And immediately ran with that after seeing Chris coach and playing for Earl. So they had a lot in common, with Max kind of being the centerpiece, and was fortunate enough to come back here and get a teaching job in the district I grew up in, which honestly wasn't my goal necessarily. Was fortunate enough to land that job, and I haven't left. And I think I coached sub-varsity teams for 3 years, and then I was fortunate enough to be given the job. And the first year we went 8-10, which they were 6-12 the year before, and I ended up in executive session at the school board. So I thought we were making progress. But I've had really good support from administrators, and pushed through all that. And of course, we've had a few speed bumps through the way, like any coach would. But since then, it's been 17 great seasons. I've enjoyed it immensely, and it's something I always look forward to, and it's really shaped my life since then.
Yeah, I was looking at, in preparing, I was looking at 8 state championship games in 17 years.
Yeah.
And there was quite the dry spell before you got there. It looked like from what
I believe there's only 2 appearances prior to that.
Yeah, very impressive. Congratulations. So obviously you got
Thank you. Yeah. You know, we've been fortunate to have great players and kids that just buy into what we're trying to do, you know, and that first group in 2005 really set the tone in the fact that, you know, it was the first time a lot of kids have been asked to be selfless, and that goes more about the team individually than their individual goals. And, you know, we had to make some tough decisions with seniors and all those types of things. And after that, we just ran with it from there.
Yeah, you played during back-to-back years, correct?
Yes, yeah, 05 and 06.
Is that Carlos Strong?
Yeah.
2005?
05 was him and Marty Cleveland. You know, a real good group. And then Joseph transferred back from Chevrolet in 06 and really ended up being the X factor in that game in 06. I think he scored 17 points, and we did a really good job on Carlos and on Marty, but we couldn't stop him, and he was the difference maker in that game.
Sure. The COVID quarantine, social distancing, that's affecting all of us right now. I see it's affecting you a little bit.
First time in my life I've ever had a beard. My daughter's in 4th grade, and she claims I look more handsome but wants me to shave it. My wife hates it, and everybody else seems to like it. So it's been around for a little bit. It's showing my age, though. Yeah, it's amazing when you go out and all of a sudden it's all white now. Yeah, and like I don't dare ask anybody how old I am, because I think they'd say at least 10 years older than I actually am now. So I'm screwed. Other than our experimental facial hair growth, how has it affected your day-to-day? Obviously, you're a teacher, so you as far as my teaching goes, obviously I'm not having any interaction with the kids as much as before. As far as the basketball coach goes, a lot of concern for summer basketball, and I know you probably have the same thing. My biggest concern for the summer is if they don't allow us into the gyms, which is realistic at this point, is that they are stringent on the guidelines. Because what if New Hampshire has a team camp? Can I take my kids to New Hampshire to a team camp or not? So there's an ability to have some real rule benders, for lack of a better term, that we're going to have some stringent guidelines for the summer. Hey, if we can get in the gym, fantastic. Then it's the same for all of us. But if we can't, then there is going to have to be some guidance from the MPA about how they want us to handle that. Yeah, for real. Like if Colby has camp, can our kids go to it? If they are, I'm going to go work it, and so will you, right? You know, exactly. So I don't really know. Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. If there are loopholes, people are going to find those. So it's funny you asked me that, because I spoke to my athletic director this morning just to see if there's any news of anything at this point for the summer. And he said, assume that it's on, but quite frankly, I'm going to assume right now that it's off. Right, yeah. Exactly. I haven't committed to anything. I'm usually, my schedule's usually done by now, as I'm sure. Me too. Yeah. I'm playing Edward Little on June 29th. That's all, the only thing on my schedule right now. Well, hopefully, you know, if they do away with the large-scale team camp stuff, you know, a home-and-home scrimmage with another team, right, stuff like that. We'll take anything, you know. Yeah, absolutely. As long as it's consistent, you know, I don't mind, whatever it is. Right. Well, cool. Zach's got the next one. Okay.
So getting back to your program a little bit, Scott mentioned your 8 state championship appearances. You've won 4, averaged over 13 wins a year over your 16 years. What is it that separates Hampden or makes Hampden play?
Well, I mean, I think if you look over the last 17 years, we've had 3 Mr. Basketball winners. Is that right? Yeah, 3 Mr. Basketball winners, a slew of finalists. You know, the game of basketball hasn't changed. It's just the guys that play it. So we've been really fortunate to have a ton of really good players. We have had, you know, the Cook kid got to go to UMaine on a scholarship. Safford was offered a scholarship at Longwood, ended up at Bates. You know, Ian McIntyre hasn't gone on to make a decision on what he's going to do, although it looks like he's going to be at Farmington next year, which would be great for them. You know, just had a lot of kids. Jacob Moore is a scholarship athlete, Zach Gilpin and Bryce. So we've had a lot of guys that are scholarship athletes, along with a ton of kids that have played Division III basketball. So we've had really good players, and the players we've had around them have understood what their jobs were. You know, I guess as a coach, that's really our job to make sure they understand that. And that's, you know, that preparing for games is what we have to do. So kids have bought in and they understand what we value as far as taking care of the ball. And, you know, if you're a really good defensive player, you start for us. At least one guy that is basically a specialist, and that is valued. And they understand that. So consequently, they try to find what they can do to help the team the most.
Yeah, you mentioned having a ton of great players, so kind of going to put you on the spot here.
Okay.
Your all-time Hampden Academy starting 5.
Yeah, since I've been there.
Yeah, since you've been there. Yeah.
All righty. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. It's Cook at center. It's both the Gilpins. It's Safford, and it's Lausier.
That's a tough team.
That would be a very tough team. Yeah, that would be a very tough team. And the thing I really like about that is every single one of those guys wants to win really bad. And with probably Zach and Graham being the nastiest winners, just absolutely cannot lose anything. In fact, practices with them on separate teams would be awful.
Yeah.
But everyone would get a lot better. But yeah, those guys, they were real special, and all those guys played both ends too. So which is obviously valued, and they're all great guys, and featured great parents. So pretty easy pick, honestly, for me at this point.
Yeah, no hesitation.
I'm none. I've had that question a lot, and I think it's pretty clear. I'm sure some people will want to debate that with me, even some of our ex-players, but I'm willing to put myself out there with that answer.
Yeah. So one of the larger debates, certainly come tournament time in Maine, is what venue is the best. So you've coached at most of them, if not all.
Yeah.
One game to play. Which venue are you going to pick?
As a kid that grew up in Newburgh and went to Hampden Academy, obviously playing at the old Bangor Auditorium was the greatest thrill ever. To come out those doors and warm up as a player and play on that floor was amazing. With that said, the opportunity that we had in 2005 to play on that floor is the last time Class A was up there. So that's something that's really special to me, and the fact that we got to coach in that game and be part of it. And they even gave us a piece of the floor, which was awesome. But at this point in my career, I wouldn't trade Augusta for anything because we play there so much. And
Yeah.
I would rather play on a pickup court than play down to Portland. Yep. If we want to play at the Expo, I think that'd be great, but I have no desire to play in the middle of that hockey rink ever.
Yeah, we're all big Augusta Civic Center guys here as well.
Yeah, and if I was younger, I never would have told you the Augusta Civic Center, but the Northern Maine final last year was amazing, the crowd with Coney. And when we played South Portland in 2013, there wasn't even a place to sit. I mean, it was awesome. So at this point in my career, I would certainly say Augusta because of the level of comfort of the number of games that we've played there. But yeah, I despise playing down in Portland.
Yeah. We got a chance to interview Bryce earlier.
Yes.
Great kid, obviously a very good player.
Yep.
When did you know that he was going to be a special player? When did he start getting your attention?
About 7th grade, he came to our camp. First time I ever met him. I'm watching this kid play. He's got goggles on, and They weren't rec specs at the time, but they were pretty close. Like we all know what rec specs are, aging ourselves here. But he was at camp and like he'd get to 15 feet and make every shot. And I'm talking to our staff at that particular camp that year, which probably was one of the Gilpins and our assistant coaches. I'm like, you guys watch this Lausier kid, like from Glenburn? He's really skilled. Yeah, he's not bad. And I'm like, no, I think he's really good. And he's small. Let me mind you, he is very small. So he goes and they have a really good middle school season. And he comes to our camp again. And like, he's still small, but he's by far the most skilled kid on the floor. And so I knew that he came and did a visit on campus, and they took him around the school, and his parents said they think he wants to come to Hampden. And okay. And when he enrolled, he was like 5'8", 125-ish. I had him play varsity basketball his first summer with us. It was clear to me he's skilled enough, just whether or not he could take the pounding. We had a preseason game at MDI, and we had a few guys back, but they were a little bit green, and we turned the ball over 100 times, and I was wild. And he brought the ball down. I'll never forget it. He brought the ball down, and they went to trap him just shy of midcourt, and he back up dribbled and crossed over and completely changed direction and made a safe pass. And I looked at our staff and said, he's going to start at point guard for us. And they're like, can you tell that? I go, he didn't get panicked. It's a preseason game where he should have a poop in his pants, but he doesn't. And all of a sudden now he's very composed. He started every game that he started that year, except the last game I believe we won. He broke his wrist halfway through the year, and we lost a few games without him. And consequently, I think he only played one game before that tournament game where Coney just turned us over 100 times and they beat us. And that was a terrible matchup for us.
Yeah.
Because we were young at guard. And he played okay, but, the following year he grew. And his skills were always superior to everybody else's. And then, like, between his sophomore and junior year, he really started to love the game. And his dad said to me one day, like, he asked me to take him to UMaine to work out, where I don't say, let's go. He volunteers to do it himself. And he goes, that's when his dad is like, I think he's going to be pretty good. And lo and behold, he grows between his junior and senior year, from 6'2" to he's almost 6'5" in his bare feet. And went from being just a three-point specialist to an absolute scoring machine. He scored 42 points in 3 quarters this year against Nokomis, and there was senior night, and obviously we didn't play him in the fourth quarter. He had 40 over to Brewer. He had a game his junior year. He had 38 and only played 3 quarters of the game because it was a last tune-up for the tournament. And I was like, he can score in bunches, and his ability to get to the hoop made him so much different this year.
Yeah. So another question about, still talking about Bryce, you've obviously mentioned a bunch of players that you've coached that went on to play at the next level.
Yep.
How do you Bryce's skill set transitioning into the Division II level?
Yep. I felt like coming out of the summertime, he had a little bit of a back injury soreness, but I felt like coming out of the summer, there was no doubt in my mind he really fit the mold as a D2 player. At the next level, he is probably going to play on the wing, do more catch and shoot, and less having to handle of the ball, which I think plays actually into his strengths. For us, he had to really do a lot, which consequently, he shot the 3-point shot well for us, like 39%. But if you probably got his threes off a catch, which he will in college, I bet his percentage was closer to 45. So if he has a penetrating point guard, I really feel like he's going to be able to really help. And probably as a freshman, probably just a catch and shoot guy, because the physicality of the game will be a little overwhelming to start, even though he is a really strong kid. I look for him as a sophomore to be able to contribute at probably all 3 levels like he did for us, and probably be a guy that starts for three years at the next level.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that. I was when I was prepping for his interview, I went and watched his sophomore year, the 1-point loss to Greeley.
Yes.
And this was off of your tournament run this year, where I noticed, where I just started paying attention to him was during your tournament run this year.
Yeah.
And to go back and watch him his sophomore year, I couldn't believe how much he transformed his body.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Like I said, I think as a freshman, he was 5'8", 120, because I do their height and weight every year, 5'8", 125, and he was 6'4", 185. Like, man-child, like, and you don't realize how tall he is till you get beside him and you're like, wow, he really is 6'4" for real. Like,
Yeah.
He's, like I said, with the sneakers on, he's 6'5", and great rebounder. But he just put a lot of time in, and that's the thing that really Safford was the first one, like, get in the weight room and like kids would see what the results were, and all of a sudden, kids kind of started feeding off that, and now it's become contagious, which is great. One small thing we do is after the teams are picked, we go in the weight room on a Saturday after practice, and you have to do 100 pounds, and you have to rip it as many times as you can. And one guy at a time, youngest guy goes first, captains go last. And it's become really fun. I decided I watched a thing on Scott Frost, I think last summer, and he said that, we ask kids to make themselves uncomfortable all the time in practice, and yet they don't ever see us uncomfortable. So I laid down there the past 2 years and did it with them too. And it was funny because I go first, even though I'm the oldest. I do go first, and that takes a little pressure off the freshmen in the room, obviously. But it's just been a really good thing so the kids want to improve their score. They're accountable to it. And it's just a simple thing, but it's also become really good with camaraderie in the weight room. We go in there and I say, okay, it's the one day you guys can listen to whatever you want on the stereo while you do your lift. I don't care what it says. Let's just do this. And of course they think that's great. And, it's been something that now the guys really try to get stronger and see the rewards of that.
Awesome. Before we get to this or that, which is a segment that we do, we're actually going to give you the same questions that we gave Bryce.
Okay.
For that, to see how in sync you guys are.
All right.
But before we do that, I want you to just talk a little bit about this year's tournament run.
Absolutely.
How special that was.
It was very special, and I've talked to a lot of people and answered a lot of questions about this season. And this is how I described it to everybody. Our regular season, we were like a good Kentucky team. Like, we didn't hardly have any close games. We, the only loss we had was to Bangor at Bangor, where they shot the ball in the first half, unbelievable. And then our tournament, we were like Virginia, like just a bunch of grinders. We didn't shoot the ball that well for really 4 games. And I said, and as coaches, we always say your defense has to travel. It has to be consistent. And honestly, our defense hadn't been all that consistent all year. We had a game against Madomic, I think, at home. We were up maybe 45-15 at halftime, and we just played even second half, which as a coach drives you insane. And I felt like we'd get relaxed a little bit. But when we needed it for 4 games in a row, we had it. And thank God, because we did not shoot the ball well at all. And you'd think, usually have one stinker like that, but we had quite a few where we didn't shoot the ball well at all. And I hadn't even watched the Coney game until Dale Duff did the thing with WHOU a couple weeks ago. And I'm watching the first quarter, and I'm like, it's 14 to yeah, and it's 14-7, and we dominated defensively, and we couldn't make a basket. We turned the ball over in the half court, but then they turned us over in the second quarter. But thank God we defended in those 3 games in the Northern Maine tournament. And I felt like in the state final, we played pretty well offensively. We had talked about Bryce needed to take half our shots. He took 18 out of the 40 shots. He didn't shoot it well, but everybody else was 4 for 6, 4 for 6, 4 for 6. Everyone else did their role fantastic. And, and I'm pretty sure with 3 minutes to go in that game, we had them at 37 points, at 40 points. And, I saw that during Christmas, they lost South Portland 61-60. I thought South Portland was the most talented team in the state of Maine. So we were able to guard them. We were able to take care of the ball and do the things we needed to do and make some foul shots in those last 3 minutes.
Yeah, it was a 23-1 run.
23-1 run. And it wasn't Scott, it wasn't one of those things we turned them over and had a bunch of runouts. It was a stop and grind it out in the half court and find a good shot. A stop. And I think McDonald shot 3 for 20, and I thought the Hennigan kid did a fantastic job on him as a sophomore out there. He's obviously got a lot of upside to potentially play at the next level too. And we just did a great job. Second half, I think we were 10 or 15 from the floor second half, and that was with Bryce only making a couple baskets. It's just all those things came together, and the 2 Ray boys played great.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna do this or that and see how it goes. Now,
All right.
Go ahead.
So I think some of these are probably geared towards Bryce's generation. So
Ooh, okay. Yeah, I don't watch much NBA anymore. They always want to ask me questions who I'd rather have on my team, and I'm like, oh, God, okay.
all right, so scrambled eggs are over easy.
Ooh, for me?
Yep.
Or for me, I'd rather have over easy, but Bryce is a scrambled egg guy.
Ooh, if you want to answer everyone like that, that'd be awesome.
I'll try.
Yeah, what you think and then what you think he said.
Okay, I know he's a scrambled egg guy because I've had breakfast with him.
Yeah.
Okay. Dunk on someone or throw their shot to the third row, blocking
Oh, dunk on someone for sure. I'm 5'9", man. That'd be a dream.
it. What was Bryce?
What do you think Bryce said?
Dunk on someone. Yeah.
Ankle breaker or take a charge?
Myself, take a charge. He'd say ankle breaker. Yeah.
So GIF, is it GIF or GIF?
GIF.
GIF.
I think I'm in the minority there.
I'm not sure.
I'm getting killed.
I had a 50-50 shot.
Apple or Android?
Android.
Android. What was Bryce?
Oh, you know what? I'm not sure. I'm going to guess he's Android too.
Okay. TikTok or Snapchat?
Snapchat all the way. I have some friends. We have a good time with that.
Yeah. Would you rather shoot at a hoop with a double rim or at a hoop with no net?
No net. Hate double rim.
Really?
Yeah.
Hate it.
No net. You got to chase it all over the place. And...
Yeah. I'd still rather have the no net.
All right. High school basketball, shot clock or no?
Shot clock for sure. Yep.
McDonald's or Burger King?
Burger King. Hate McDonald's.
Duke or UNC?
Duke.
And then LeBron or MJ?
MJ. Absolutely. Not even close.
Awesome. Well, Russ, this was a lot of fun. I appreciate it. Like I said, we're hoping to get this up, tonight, so you can check it out, and you can also see our interview with Bryce. It was pretty fun.
Awesome. No, I appreciate it. I enjoy doing this. It's fun.
Awesome.
Plus, it changes my life a little bit rather than just cleaning my house and doing yard work.
Well, best of luck to you in the future. Hopefully, we see each other, this summer on the circuit, and that's back up and running. And best of luck and God bless.
Yeah, same to you. Thank you.
All right, Russ.
All right. See ya.